I'm going to relay them one at a time, and then I'm going to try to tie them into what I'm seeing here represented in the cards, and then we'll go through each section of the spread separately. So the first image that I saw, and I don't want you guys to worry because the cards are really, really positive. So I definitely see a change in your situation for the better. Okay, so I don't want you to worry. But the image made me feel really, really sad, and it has nothing to do with things being sad. It's just the situation. Okay, so and it'll become clearer as I get through it. So first of all, I saw this woman. She's in like a log cabin, so it looks like 1800s, um, American homesteader. It's somebody that survives off the land. They're agrarian and they're farmers. And she's in a log cabin. She is sitting down near a bed and she's sewing a quilt. She's doing it by hand. So she has like all these little scraps of fabric. And keep in mind, the environment doesn't lead me to believe that she's very financially well off. She seems kind of poor. And, winter is approaching, so she's trying to get a quilt finished. And she's making a quilt out of all of these tiny little scraps of fabric, leftover fabric. And, it's very time consuming. If she had like a large swath of fabric, then it would be a piece of cake. So she's doing that. And you can look at the quilt the sections that she's already kind of finished with, and it's just like a hodgepodge of little scraps of fabric. And she's looking at the bundle of scrap fabrics in front of her, and she's just like, when am I going to be done with this? So two things came out when I saw that image. The first image that I'm feeling is, for some of you, you're getting very, very worn out and kind of tired about a situation that has been kind of ongoing, okay? And I don't feel it's a relationship. I feel like it's tedious tasks that are kind of laid out in front of you. There is a definitive like a deadline, or there is something like a cutoff date, or there is an end in sight. There is an end in sight, but before you reach that end, it seems like the monotony, the tediousness, the going through the motions is really getting to you. It's really getting to you, and you're just like, when is this situation going to be finished? I wish I could just, fast forward to the end when all of this is finished, and then when things are going to get better, or when I can kind of jumpstart my life the way that I wanted. So I almost feel like there are things that you have to do in a timely manner, and in order to like level up, or in order to achieve something so that you can move on to the next phase. It's almost like, playing a video game where you have to, go through, earn the experience points, earn like the proper skills, fight the boss, and then you level up to the next level. That's what it feels like to me, leveling up. But the process itself is not fun and exciting and, carefree like a video game. It's tedious, and it's a lot of things that you have to do. So that's the first thing that came out with that image. On top of that, I'm also seeing this element here about you making, like when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. It's sort of like that mentality, which I feel is really, really great. But I almost feel like for many of you, life has been taking a little bit of like strange detours. And I feel like it has been happening all through last year. I'm getting an 8 energy, so possibly like all through, where you feel like you're being tugged along. It's just like events were happening around you and happening to you, and you don't feel like you have that sense of control over things. You were just kind of pulled along, and you were just kind of like rushed along. Like things were happening really, 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 really fast around you. And it doesn't feel to me like it was chaotic, but it feels like the wheels were set in motion and you were just like going along with it. And in a way, it can feel like, where is my sense of free will? Where am I able to, be the one to execute and make decision? And it just feels like everything was just pulling you along really, really fast. One thing happens after another, and before you know it, life looked very, very, very different. So a lot of it has to do with this, making the best out of a situation. Life throws you curveballs, so you have to make the most of things. You have to be resourceful with those scraps of fabric, and you have to also be very, very flexible to you like to see the value in something, and then even um, it's almost like having multi functions. Okay, you yourself could be thrust into an environment where you're, for example, a work situation where you are wearing many, many, many hats. So you could be called in to be a dispatcher for somebody who called out sick, and then the next day you could be, like I don't know, a supervisor. And then the next day you're called in to do work of a clerical staff. So I feel like you've been wearing many, many hats. You've been accumulating a lot of different, like a hodgepodge of like little skills. And it can feel, and I know this is a really uncomfortable place for a lot of water signs in general, but especially for you guys, because you need a certain amount of stability. Okay, so I feel like this whirlwind of events, it doesn't feel to me like it's out of control or detrimental. It just feels like things were happening a little bit too fast for you, and things were happening to you rather than you feeling like you had a choice. Felt that many of you were not decisive enough, and so these things were, it's almost like, closed mouths don't get fed, where people asked you, do you have a preference? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I feel like you needed time to mull it over. So because decisions were not made at the right time in a fast and swift manner, then decisions were kind of taken out of your hands, or somebody else made the decisions for you. And so moving forward for this year, I feel like some of you might be a little bit resentful of those decisions that were made for you, either without asking for your consent, or they were made in such a swift manner. It just almost felt like you never consented to it. It felt almost like it just happened to you. So that's what I'm picking up, okay? Energy is moving really, really, really fast, and you just feel like you're pushed along for the ride. So when I saw the patchwork, like the quilt, what I'm feeling is it's like making the best of a situation, okay? Being resourceful, and as well, um, it's almost like this woman, this whole quilting, sewing, it's a very domesticated type of energy. It can also relate as well to the home environment, where I feel like the demands for many of you in the home environment is what's really, it's like one of the things that surprisingly really, really helps stabilize your life, okay? So that's the first thing. And the way that the energies kind of echo across this spread here, once again, I have really, really fast, swift moving energies, projects being moved off the ground, things moving, and things moving, happening, decisions need to be made. Things just like rushing along, like lots of communication, lots of contact, lots of decisions, lots of things that we had to physically take care of. And you're no longer sitting there and like, oh, mulling over these decisions, taking your sweet time. You're no longer doing that. I feel like the energy for last year, if anything, it has really taught you about being quick on the uptake, about being decisive, about grabbing opportunities when they come in, and not mulling over a situation for too long, because opportunities and things like that will slip you by. So you have definitely been learning from the past. What I'm seeing here is there is a new job that's available for you. So for those of you who have been financially struggling, and I did see that coming through with the first image, because like I said, it's a homesteader. It's somebody that is living off the land. She's in a cabin, and it's it's not like a wealthy, abundant type of an environment. And I feel like your luck is changing mainly because there are big, big, big opportunities coming through when it comes to solid work, okay? This is the work that is, I call it like the 9 to 5. A job that has pension, a job that has health insurance. So for those of you who have been, worried about like how to prepare myself, I need to stave off the cold. I need to be able to prepare myself for this really, really big season that is to build up your nest egg, okay? And it's coming through. This is usually a new job that's available in the picture. And the reason why it screams out to me so much about new work and new jobs is because I have here the 3 of Cups in the reverse. Usually denotes some type of a situation like a job interview or some type of a panel interview where people are talking about you, not in a bad way, but this is sort of like, which candidate do we want to go with? And then they're going to look at your resume. They're going to look at your CV. They're going to look at how did, the Cancer person answer these questions in that panel interview? Or which candidate do we want to go for? Which candidate do we want to call back? So I feel like you have a lot of energies of other people talking about you around you. It is not in a bad way, so don't worry. But I feel like it's almost like they're allocating resources either to hire you, or there's new work and new jobs that are going to be in the picture, and it's got your name kind of stamped on it, okay? The problem is, do you want to take it? So this is kind of like on the offing, and then she's looking at it. Well, she's not really looking at it. She's blindfolded and she's stuck in her little prison. She's afraid of change, okay? So that's really, really big with Cancerian people. Afraid of change, afraid of newness. It's too good to be true. And you have a habit of kind of like circling around the things that you want rather than going directly for the things that you want. And so when this opportunity is presenting itself, you're just like, I'm not sure. This is way too good to be true. I'm not sure if I'm capable. It's such a big pentacles. It requires a lot of skills and a lot of effort and a lot of possibly expertise that I'm not really sure that I have. So I feel like you're dealing with a lot of fear and a lot of trepidation and a lot of self-doubt. And that might be the main reason why you are kind of not embracing what's available to you. Was everything a whirlwind of activity? Okay, so think back the beginning of 20. Thought life was going to be one way, and then things took the path meandered, and it feels to me, and this is where the second message comes through. I see this container of water is like a pitcher of water. It pours down. And rather than just falling flat to the ground, the water kind of trickles out and it creates like these streams and estuaries. You thought things were going to be one way. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something very stable, very predictable, and very status quo, or far from, I guess, the realm of possibilities. Life has taken you so far from what you thought your life was going to be like coming into 2019. So it's like you took a major, massive detour, and I feel like it was for the better. But then you also learned as well where you have stalled on taking your sweet time, taking a lot of time mulling things over, being very risk averse, and where you have really held yourself back. It's like you got in your own way. You have really held yourself back. You didn't move, or you didn't act, or you didn't, start things fast enough or finish things fast enough. You didn't move in a way that allowed, it's almost like when we finish up things, for example, if we wrap up cycles, we move on to a new cycle. If we leave an ex, there's that void, and the universe will always, come in and fill a void with a new person. If we hate our job, we leave our job, and then there's that opening for the universe to come in and replenish. So I feel like you have really learned that concept, how the universe worked, and I feel like, it took you by surprise. And so there's still trepidation from your end about moving things. Am I going in the right direction? Am I where I'm meant to be? You're exactly where you're meant to be, okay? This is divine guidance here. We have here the Judgment card. And this is pretty much a clean slate, a clean page, a new chapter, starting over. So whatever that has been kind of for the better, okay? You are being divinely guided. Because now, energetically, I definitely see a higher, like ascension, like a higher state of being, a better state of being. And you're being in a situation where you're kind of like heeding your calling, or you're being a lot more receptive to new energies, new things that are trying to break into the picture for you. There's still a little bit of trepidation here. We have here this is the Ace of Wands, new beginnings. For some of you, there is a housing situation that's not very ideal. Okay, either the environment of the house is a little bit chaotic, or there's something about the housing environment where it can feel a little bit small, a little bit claustrophobic, a little bit disorganized, and it's not as homey as you'd like it to be. And you guys are very, very sensitive to your surroundings. So I feel like there are, things necessary, like cleaning up, decluttering, some energy where you're still risk adverse, where you're still a little bit scared about all of these changes that are coming through. But you're welcoming the change, and you are definitely a little bit more adventurous and a lot more receptive and open and a lot faster when it comes to saying yes to new opportunities, which is really, really good for you. So what's coming through? This is the kid at the candy store. Okay, he's looking at all the things that he wants to achieve with his life. He's thinking about not only short term, what's in front of me, what do I need to take care of, but he's conjuring, he's imagining, he's using his imagination. And he is also, all those roles that you had to fill, all those hats that you have had to wear, every role that you had to take, every task that you had to do is teaching you skills. Whether or not, those skills are related, in the greater scheme of things, they're going to come full circle, and they're going to show you that they are related. You had to learn all of these skills because they're serving a bigger purpose. So while you're going through the motions and you're just like, I really want that grand, big, big, big job. I really want that job with the status, with the financial backing, with the big office, with the title, with the, such and such after my name. For example, a doctor, a doctorate candidate, like an MD, an engineer. Like, you want something with the big title and the big status and the big salary. But I'm also feeling as well, all of these skills are building you up and are prepping you, because in the next job, whatever that's coming in for you right here, it's going to require you as well to don many hats. It's going to require for you as well to be very, very versatile and to be very, very well-rounded. So everything that you've learned here is teaching you about well-roundedness, okay? For some of you, I have somebody in your environment, somebody who is very, 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 it's like somebody who has a lot of big ideas. You feel like they are a little bit too risky for whatever reason. For some of you, this could be like a significant relationship partner, a crush, or somebody that I feel like there's a emotional connection between you and this person. So they're showing up here as the Princess of Swords, somebody who's a little, so this is the Page of Swords, somebody who's a little bit risky, okay? They grab opportunities, they think very fast on their feet, they do things really, really swiftly that they come across as careless, but they always land on their feet. You, because you mull things over and you take a long time, down to, texting somebody, you really mull it over, down to writing an email, down to, what am I going to cook today, down to doing the grocery shopping. you take extra care and you take a little bit more time. So I feel like in opposition, when you're dealing with this person, I don't feel like it's an air sign. I feel like it's just the energy that's like that. They think so fast and they come to conclusions so fast that from your perspective, you might feel like this person is reckless. From your perspective, you might feel like this person is flighty. But, you have to understand that we all, I guess, arrive at our truths differently. For a water sign such as yourself, things not only have to logically make sense, but they also have to emotionally make sense to you. So, for example, what I mean by that is, if you're dealing with this person, as long as something logically makes sense to them, and I feel like you're dealing with someone who's borderline genius, they're very, very smart. They might not be traditionally, like a good student or somebody that is gifted, but I feel like they arrive at solutions very, very quickly. Their mind knows how to problem solve and fit things together. And I feel like for you guys, the way that you work is it has to pass that common sense test, and then it has to pass that emotional sense test. So you have like two extra criteria that things have to pass through, whereas this person, they go off on instincts. And I feel like because of that, what they're doing might seem very, very reckless or seem really impulsive, but in the greater scheme of things, they're able to achieve more. Okay, and so I feel almost like you might be coming into the embodiment of this energy, where like the water being poured down to the ground, and then it just kind of trickles out into like streams and rivers. Those are like neurons, and I feel like they make connections a lot faster. So this is the next 2 weeks. I feel like it's that light bulb moment where things kind of flash and things start to make sense for you. The big picture starts to show itself. All the pieces start to fit together, and all of those neurons are firing, and you're able to see that everything that has happened has led me here. And where I am right now, I'm in a position where I get to make these choices again. I'm not just, pulled along or rushed along, or even, like dealt with, like situations don't just happen to me. Now I'm in a position where I get to choose again. So life is going to be a lot calmer, I feel, and I feel like it's because you guys are taking more initiative to make choices faster, to grab new opportunities, to be less complacent, and I almost feel like to be a little bit more adventurous. Okay? And then we have the best card in the deck. You have the Star. Wishes, dreams, aspirations, something that you've been waiting for such a long time. I feel for many of you, if you have been dealing with financial issues, there might be new work, new jobs, pay increases, or something that is, significantly more in alignment with your skills, where you want to go, what career track you want to pursue. So this is coming into the picture. And then we have as well the Six of Cups. I feel like for many of you, you might be introduced, or somebody from, like a friend, a former coworker, a former boss, a supervisor, or somebody has you in mind for a job, and they're asking you if you're interested. And then I also feel with the Six of Cups energy with the Star card, this is reconnecting with somebody that we have really long cherished. Okay, reconnecting with somebody, potentially meeting somebody new that will really want to. It's like having meeting somebody for the first time, but then feeling such a strong connection to them that you might even feel like you've known each other before, shared a past life together. And then I also feel like meeting somebody that really, really, really wants to, that you for once feel like, wow, this could be the one, or the other person is all like, this could be, this could go the distance. This could be somebody that I really want to, have children with, share my life together with, build a home with, or really see myself into my old age and still have this person by my side. So Cancer, you have some really, really beautiful things that are coming into the picture. And so what I feel is, that period about that whatever that where, life dealt you lemons, so you make lemonades, or even a situation where you kind of have to skimp and nickel and dime yourself, or shortchange yourself, or be very thrifty, or really look after your finances, or whatever that situation is where you felt like you had to make the best of a situation. Those days, I feel, are coming to an end, and choices are in the palms of my hands again, and that's really important, right? No one likes to be um, no one likes to be the ones where things happen to them rather than them being able to control situation. So you're once again in the driver's seat. You get to make your decisions, and you have learned to make decisions quickly, and you have learned to really, really speak up for the things that you want, because you realize that you deserve to be able to speak up, and whoever cares about you, they deserve to give you what you want. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, Cancer. I do wish you all the best. This looks really beautiful, and take care of yourself. And once again, I have to make these announcements. For those who are still emailing me about private readings, I'm no longer doing readings. I do have a person that that I highly recommend. Her name is Bridget. She is a phenomenal psychic. I have recommended her to all my friends and family, and I've used her services for the past 2 years whenever I need spiritual advice and guidance. If you'd like to book a reading, I highly recommend her. I have included her scheduling webpage in the description box down below. So if you'd like, click on that, and then it'll take you to her scheduling webpage, where you can book a reading for yourself or for someone you know. I highly recommend her. I wish you the very, very best, Cancer, and I'll be back next month. For those who are celebrating, happy Valentine's Day. Take care.